Imagine you are at the edge of a cliff in the deepest depression of the oven world. You look down and expect to see lava or perhaps barren rock, but what you see defies your primate brain. You see an ocean. Or at least that is what your eyes tell you. There is a horizon line. There is something filling the basin, but there are no waves. There is no foam breaking against the coast. The surface is perfectly smooth, eerily still, like a mirror of dark mercury that sometimes, just sometimes, ripples like a silk curtain blown by a whisper. If you threw a stone into this sea, it wouldn't splash. The stone would simply enter, no sound, no impact, devoured by the substance. If you were foolish enough to go down and walk into the water, you wouldn't get wet. You would feel a sudden pressure, as if the air had turned into lead. You would feel your suit compressing against your skin. Your vision would become blurry, refracted, as if looking at the world through hot air rising from asphalt in summer. You are not swimming in water. You are not even in a liquid. You are inside a physical impossibility. You are inside a supercritical fluid. On Earth, we learn that matter has defined states: solid, liquid, gas. Water is water, steam is steam. But here, in the crushing depths of the basalt basins, atmospheric pressure exceeds 300 atmospheres. Under this titanic weight, carbon dioxide, the very gas we exhale, suffers an identity crisis. It reaches its critical point. It is no longer a gas. It is too dense as liquid water. You could float in it. But it is not a liquid either. It has no surface tension. It forms no drops. It expands to fill all available space, passing through porous solid matter like ghosts passing through a wall. It is the state of matter where the distinction between ocean and atmosphere dissolves. It is a liquid gas, a voracious universal solvent capable of dissolving oils, waxes, and biological precursors that water would never touch. And in this dense, heavy, invisible soup, something has learned to build castles. In the darkness of this dense sea, life does not need to hunt. It does not need to move. It only needs to exist and let the ocean pass through it. Welcome to the Silica Reef. What you see rising from the bottom are not limestone corals. They are structures of mathematical delicacy that would break your heart. Spiral towers, lace lattices, geodesic domes, all made of pure glass. But it is not solid glass. If you took a piece of this reef in your hand and could withstand its 600-degree temperature, you would be surprised by its weight, or the lack of it. It is light as a feather. It is biological aerogel. These creatures, the silica sponges, are the architects of the void. Their bodies are 99% empty space, a fractal network of silica filaments so fine they are invisible to the naked eye. They have evolved to exploit the strangest property of supercritical fluid, its zero viscosity. On Earth, water is sticky. It takes work to pump it through fine pores. Here, supercritical CO2 flows without friction. It passes through the sponge's structure without resistance, carrying dissolved nutrients, silicones, rare metals directly to the core of each crystalline cell. The sponge does not filter the sea. The sponge is the sea, giving it momentary shape. Walking along the bottom of this ocean would be the loneliest experience in the universe. There are no fish swimming. The fluid's viscosity is so low that swimming is inefficient. Flapping fins generates no thrust. That is why everything here is static. It is a forest of glass statues stretching for kilometers. But if you look closely with a macro lens, you will see that the reef is alive. Small crystal crabs, symbiotic, live inside the aerogel pores. They don't swim. They walk clinging to filaments, cleaning the sponge of unwanted mineral deposits, paying their rent with cleanliness. Above, threads of reverse marine snow, silica precipitates falling from the cooler upper layers, descend slowly. The sponges trap this stardust with soft electrostatic fields, incorporating it into their mass, growing millimeter by millimeter in absolute silence. It is an ecosystem of geological patience. However, this crystal paradise lies under a thermodynamic sword of Damocles. The existence of supercritical fluid depends on a precarious balance of pressure and temperature. Sometimes, a distant volcanic eruption alters the basin's pressure, or a thermal current overheats a region. Then the most terrifying phenomenon of this world occurs. The ocean fails. It is not slow evaporation. It is instantaneous. In a fraction of a second, the CO2 loses its supercritical state. The sea ceases to be a dense fluid and violently turns into gas. Imagine the entire Atlantic Ocean turning into steam in the blink of an eye. The expansion is explosive. A supersonic gas shockwave tears through the reef. The silica sponges, which a second before were floating supported by the fluid's density, suddenly weigh tons. The great aerogel towers collapse under their own weight, shattering into clouds of glittering dust. The ecosystem is exposed to dry, scorching air. The creatures living in the pores suffocate, not from lack of air, but from lack of density. Their bodies were designed to be supported by crushing pressure. Without it, they explode outward. It is an invisible apocalypse, a sea that disappears without leaving a puddle, leaving behind only ruins of broken glass. But life here is tenacious. At the bases of the destroyed sponges, hardened crystal cysts wait. They wait for the pressure to rise again. They wait for the gas to thicken again, for the air to turn back into a ghost ocean. And when it does, centuries later, construction begins anew. We humans fear pressure. Our spaceships, our submarines, our bubbles of low pressure we carry with us to avoid being crushed by the universe. But for the silica sponges, pressure is an embrace. It is what holds their world together. If they ever saw us, if they could perceive us inside our pressurized suits, we would seem like monstrosities to them. Inflated, hollow, tragically undense beings. They teach us that life is not just matter. It is a state of matter. That in the right place under enough weight, even air can turn into water and glass can turn into flesh. That ghosts are real, you just need enough pressure to touch them. This was the silica sponges. To the silica sponges, we are the ghosts, low-pressure beings, hollow and ephemeral. This forces us to redefine what we consider a habitable environment. We look for blue planets with liquid water, ignoring that perhaps most life in the universe is swimming in dense gas oceans we can't even see. Do you think life is rare, or are we simply looking in the wrong places with the wrong eyes? Don't let the pressure crush you. If you enjoyed this dive into the impossible, support the channel with a like and share this video with another explorer. Subscribe to keep discovering the strangest corners of the cosmos. Until the next dive.